Do you think if Ryan Seacrest and I met in person, that he'd want to be my friend? Because I really strongly feel that we're like the same guy. So, like, if we were to meet in person, he'd definitely want to be my friend. Do you think Ryan Seacrest would want to be my friend? He and I met in person? Oh, I was kind of counting on that. That's embarrassing. Oh well. My name is Ryan Wickham, and welcome to BTS with Ryan Wickham. I'm your host. This is the novel which I've written, Outlaw Principles. That's so weird to say it like this is the novel I've written. Anyway, Outlaw Principles has sold out 4 times on Amazon.com and isn't that far from hitting a 5th sellout on Amazon.com. That's amazing to me. Worldwide, my fans in Canada, my home country, particularly in Western Canada, throughout the United States, in particular in Florida, Texas, and California, where I'm really exploding. The UK, huge fan base all throughout Europe, India, Pakistan, the Philippines. Thank you for helping to make Outlaw Principles such a huge success. You can purchase your copy today on Amazon.com, amongst other sites, but Amazon seems to be where the money's being made. All right, joining me today is guest host and producer Josh Sloan. Josh, do you want to hug?
No, I'm good.
Whatever. Okay. Moving on. What do you got for me?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about your latest radio interview with Miss Chanel Banks out in Los Angeles.
Yeah, blog, radio talk. How about that explosive freaking interview? That was quite something, wasn't it?
It was almost an hour long.
Yeah. It was. Each interview is very. I haven't had an interview where I've ever walked away from saying, oh, not so much. I've enjoyed each and every one of them. Quite a bit, actually. Each one of them almost has its own sentimental connection. But what was interesting about this one, like you said, is that I had a whole hour. So it really asked some very tough questions. And I know a lot of people have told me that they were like sort of almost white knuckling or sitting on the edge of their seat kind of thing, listening to see how it was going to unfold. So what were your thoughts on it?
Well, she didn't hold back. After hearing me, I was thinking, well, she's asking a lot of personal questions and really trying to make this connection between you and his work of fiction, aside from the fact that you wrote it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like she said, and this was, I'm not going to give away the answer at all. You're going to have to watch the interview, but which can be found on my website blog. The link for that I'll post towards the end of the show. But the biggest question is that, yeah, if Outlaw Principles is a work of fiction, as a biker book, how is it, if I'm not a biker, that I was able to write in such a way that she fully believed it was an autobiography or an actual true story, nonfiction work? So a very good question. And I know that there were some very nervous loved ones of mine who were really concerned about the direction that interview could have taken. So it was a fun interview. I felt like, Josh? I felt like a pinch hitter at bat with 2 outs and a full count. And I was facing the ace curveball pitcher of the century, and Miss Chanel was just tossing those curveballs at me, and it was a heck of a time. I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. It was and definitely check that one out. It's inspiring, but it's also very entertaining and very, like I said, very entertaining. And it's definitely sort of an edge of the seat kind of thing that really puts me under the scrutiny of the spotlight and really examines some very key questions. Like I said. How is it that I know so much about this life? I'm not actually a biker. Anyway, we want to talk today about, as you know, we're part of putting together a program that's up and running where we bring blankets and warm winter clothing to the impoverished and homeless. And we've done this throughout North America, even Texas, believe it or not, where, believe it or not, like the temperatures can actually be quite cold and quite frigid at different times throughout the winter. But lately, we've been distributing them in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which is 4 hours north, which happens to be my hometown. Travel permitting, we get out there 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Friday, last Friday we had a church dinner. Sounds like we robbed the place. But anyway, church dinner out from the cold, or something to that effect, out of the cold dinner. These people are wonderful volunteers. The people at this church who put this together are fantastic, phenomenal individuals for taking the time out of their day to feed over 200 people. Bless your kind hearts. When we showed up, they were very grateful. Volunteers and the people there to eat, all very grateful for the fact that we had showed up with so much supplies. When we told them this wasn't a one-time deal, that we would be there every Friday, they were just sort of blown away with gratitude, wanting to, and in fact, they even mentioned, listen, next time, now that we know you're coming, we'll set up multiple tables instead of just the one. So all along, like the walls, like where you exit out of the dining hall to the area where you can then exit to the stairwells or elevator to exit the building. They could just line up the tables there, so it's very out of the way. It's not clogged up or anything like that. And so we were really content with it. Okay, now we've hit another area that we know we can go to where we can directly, hit the demand with the supply, right? Unfortunately, this is where this becomes sort of pertinent to everybody out there who's a part of a volunteer initiative. Check your facts with any organization you might be a part of, because although you might be a wonderful person, and although most of the people you are working on this with might be a wonderful person, there can at times be a cantankerous sort of clog that can really slow down productivity. Case in point, I got a call from an individual. They left me a voicemail, which was followed up by a phone call. This particular person is a member of this church's hierarchy in terms of event coordination. And this individual told us that we are no longer welcome to enter into this establishment to provide people with these blankets and warm winter clothing. Reason being is because it would be an act of duplicity, so this person states. So I said to them, listen, you're telling me that you provide all the same services we do. The answer was yes, they do. So I said to this person, okay, so if myself or somebody from my organization, which is a nameless organization, just a group of very wonderful volunteers, shows up at this institution and says, okay, I want a meal, can I please have the meal, and by the way, can I have a blanket or jacket or warm winter clothing article? I would, would they be able to get that? And then the call kind of got silent, and the answer was, well, they definitely get the meal. So I said, so what you're telling me is that they might not have the supplies. To which was the response to that was, well, they got socks at Christmas time. Oh, I'm sorry, they had socks at Christmas time. Well, of course they're good then. I mean, as we all know, when you're in cold, frigid winter temperatures, all you really need is one pair of socks, and that somehow just magically keeps you warm throughout the rest of the winter, right? Well, that's not in fact the case. Now, I don't want to slam this organization or its many wonderful volunteers. They are wonderful people doing wonderful things, and they're very happy to do it. They're very kind, devoted volunteers. They simply have a particular individual that has a very backward and nonsensical way of looking at things. I really think that egos have no place in charity or volunteer work, right? The greater cause is what it's all about, and that's all it's about. So again, if you're part of a volunteer organization, do a self-audit now and then. Make sure that, all the needs are being met at the very highest rate of efficiency to make it the most effective volunteer organization it can possibly be. Because obviously, if you're putting your time forward to a cause, it must mean something to you. Therefore, if it means something to you, you're going to want to have it be in its best condition possible. All right, message heard, hopefully delivered. Now, what's next?
Well, here at Geowong Studios, we've done quite a few episodes, and we've been trying to get a lot of guest authors as well. Mike Walton, who wrote the book APOC, unfortunately was unable to be with us. We're rescheduling his interview, and hopefully it's going to be a good one, and will happen soon.
Yeah, just due to scheduling ends or scheduling problems on both ends, we weren't able to get Mike in. And although that's a shame, it's not really, because it's a temporary delay. He will be here. His book is selling very well and can also be purchased on Amazon.com. I highly recommend you read this book. Simply put, if you're not reading APOC, you're doing it wrong. What do we got next?
For our next episode, I will be interviewing the character, or the core character in Outlaw Principles. It's going to be a very interesting interview. I won't say too much about it, but I'm sure Ryan could examine or explain a little bit more on it.
Well, I pride myself as being an author. Not now, I'm doing my YouTube show. Later, okay? Please don't interrupt me like that. God, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Are they cut? Is there syrup?
Josh, focus on the show, please. Okay, focus. Yeah, so what we're going to be doing, we are going to be, because I want to make it as modern an experience as possible, we're going to bring the character on who is the vigilante / MC president for Outlaw Principles in my book, Outlaw Principles. Now, of course, he doesn't exist, So there has to be somebody portraying that individual, that character, and who better than the person who wrote him, right? So law enforcement or anybody watching the next episode of BTS with Ryan Wickham, I want to be very clear that what you're seeing is a dramatization. Okay, it's not actually me having come out of the closet as this MC president / vigilante. That's not the case. I am simply portraying a character in the book to make it that much more of an intimate and involved and interactive experience, so you can really delve yourself deep into this whole thing. Like I said, Outlaw Principles is a book that feels like a movie that you're in. This is just us taking it to that next step. All right, I would like to thank my sponsor, Canadian Red Dragon. I'd like to thank Keith Hooper from K Online Services. He provides excellent quality internet services, social media services at very reasonable prices, to say the very least. I'd like to thank Josh Wong for joining me here today. You do an excellent job, sir. I appreciate all of your effort, and everybody else at J1 Productions. Thank you very much. I will see you next time on BTS with Ryan Wickham, and my favorite color is black.